If you're just joining us, welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. We have 49 participants on the line. We are always looking to exceed 100 attendees, so invite your team. I am very excited to bring out our trainer today, Bill Predebon. Bill is someone that I have the pleasure of seeing on a weekly basis as we're both in Scottsdale. And Bill's passion for Renatus is really something that really inspires me. When he trains, his energy is just incredible. Bill's story is really, really cool. So before Bill started with Renatus, he was a pro skier in Vail, Colorado, and he realized that he wasn't really qualified to do much else. And so he got into the franchise world. And with a lack of knowledge, it did end up costing him the business. You know, he was successful for a little while with it, and then he ended up losing everything. So in 2007, he heard about real estate investing. He didn't have education. He tried it on his own, and he got upside down in over $400,000 of debt during the crash in 2008. And this is around the time when he found Renatus, and he made 8 times more in the first year alone than he did the previous year. Ever since then, Bill has now done over 130 deals. He's grossed multiple 7 figures in real estate. He's now a PIT team member and a marketing leader for Renatus, and we're very fortunate to have him as a trainer. Bill Predebon, are you there?
Keely Austin, what's up, baby girl? Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Awesome.
Let me get you the controls.
Log out twice. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
Right on. Thanks for hosting this call. Thanks for everything you do. You're doing an awesome job. It's always good to hear new leaders, get in front of the microphone and take it away and set up these events like this. It's just awesome. We appreciate hearing your voice every morning, and I appreciate you for all you do for Scottsdale Renatus. I don't know, folks, if you know Keely, but she's killing it. She's under Michael and Vanessa Huggins, and she's just an absolute star in leadership as far as the work that she does behind the scenes for us, and also in front of the scenes, doing testimonies and building her business and jumping into some real estate. So we really appreciate you, Keely. You're an inspiration to all of us. Keep it up.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me out. Welcome, everybody. I guess I'll turn over to the video. Not really sure why, but I guess it's at least gives you guys an opportunity to relate maybe a little bit more. Cool. So we've got a chat going on. Like Keely said, we're at 52. So yesterday when I came on the phone and Michael was training, we were at like 82. So share the love. Let people know we're on the phone call today, and that we are already started. Share it with your team. But for you guys, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. You guys and girls all know, you know what I always do is I always go ahead, because there's always new people joining the community. So 760-533-3141. That's my cell phone number, 760-533-3141. I put it in the chat, or you can always go to the recording and get it. And I will say this, most people know this, but this guy, it's pretty funny. I'll tell that story in a second. When if you guys text me or call me, most of the time I get it, but I'm usually in the middle of something, typically. And so in that case, if I haven't gotten back to you like within 3 or 4 or 5 hours, feel free to text me again or call me again, because that'll remind me that it's important. Not that it's not important, but it'll get back up to the top of my text, because unfortunately I probably have I don't know, 100 texts a day or something stupid. So sometimes it gets buried, and sometimes I'll click on it so it won't be new anymore. Anyway, just a reminder, or leave me a message, because then I always leave those. I have visual voicemail, and I always leave those messages up, so you can, so that way I'll know it's fresh, and I'll know to go to it. So yeah, you know what? I got crazy idea. So, I know what else I was going to say. So if you have something specific that is to your business, and most of the time, most people don't take advantage of it, but, you know, at any time, I think with just about any trainer on this call, in my opinion, in any platform, it is definitely not about us. It is all about bringing value to y'all and to, you know, so, you know, I know when I'm on trainings, it's always beneficial to be able to just chime in and ask a question or just, you know, make a comment or something. So if there's something that's pertaining to your business that, you know, you are working on or dealing with, or, you know, having in mind that you'd like me to touch on or talk or give you my opinion or discuss, you know, feel free to just type it in or come off a mute. You probably have to *6 perhaps, and then unmute yourself on your own phone. And we can talk about what you want to talk about too, because it really takes me in great different directions for training. So with that, you know, it's funny, this guy just called me and I left him a message this morning at 6 a.m. He's in Michigan. So we are buying this hopefully buying this lakefront property in Michigan. When we were home for the 4th of July, it's always been something we've wanted to do, is buy on our lake, Portage Lake, where we grew up. So we found this lady that was selling a home, and we're direct to seller on the deal. And I'm doing some due diligence on it because she's got a little bit of a wetland, marshy area in front of her thing, and we want a nice shore. She's got 154 feet of shoreline. Anyway, I got to get the DNR out there, which is the Department of Natural Resources, and I got to get them out there and make sure there's no, you know, I don't know. Supposedly, you got to make sure. I'm not really sure how it works, so I'm kind of just being proactive. But up in the UP in Michigan, I don't know, in some small towns, people just do not move very fast. So this has been like a month-long process to get this guy to get out there and take a look at this thing. So he finally goes, and then of course he calls me last night when I'm doing a training, which he didn't know about. So I get off the training call him like 5 minutes later, and and sure enough, he hung up his phone. You know, I listened to his message, and he hangs up his phone for the evening. So I called him last night, left him a message. I'm like, hey, man. And then I called him this morning, left him a message. And I was like, hey, call me before 10 o'clock your time, because he's in Michigan, right? And I'm like, 7 here, because I have a 7 o'clock conference call. So when does he call? He just called at 7:10. So my point to this story is, you know, messages are there for a reason. I know it takes time, and I'm a guilty party as well. But, you know, if you can listen to your prospects, and you can listen to, you know, your business associates that call you, if they left a message, take the time to listen to it. And you know, anytime you're prospecting, in my opinion, and this is just a side note, guys, it's not my training, but it's just an experience thing. I think that, you know, Bob Snyder brings down from the top, right, is that listening is so key, and respecting people's time and understanding the individual that you're working with, right? So, you know, when you call and you're prospecting, you qualify for the time all the time, right? Hey, is now a good time? Do you have 5 minutes? You know, be realistic about your time. I need 10 minutes of your time. You know, is now a good time? And then, you know, people love options. So you'll hear everybody train Woody Woodward and stuff, you know, hey, when's, you know, what works for you for me to follow up with you after watching this video, in the afternoon today or in the morning tomorrow, right? So they've got a choice, but you're narrowing it down. You're giving them choice. And so they're more open to setting a time to talk with you, right? And so, you know, even when you call up for doctor's appointments and things like that, or, you know, I don't know, dentist appointment, you know, they usually give you a choice. You know, I've got Friday at 11 or Monday at 2, you know, your physical therapist or your massage therapist, you know, whatever it is, you get choices. People love choices. And so, you know, again, that's why, you know, we have choices of events to go to for folks. And, you know, and it's nice, you know, hey, we've got an opportunity to see a property tour this weekend or next weekend, or we've got, you know, if you're talking to someone during early week, you know, we've got Thursday night, you can attend this event, or Saturday morning at 10, you know what I mean? And they're still going to see the intro as well as the property tour. So just some food for thought there. But, you know, in my opinion, you know, if you listen to the message, or you speak to someone, listen to what it is that they're saying. If this guy like just watching that guy call, he's a business person. He's the only person. So he kind of got me over the barrel as far as I can't really go to anybody else to get the information I need from him. But, my respect for him goes down a little bit. Number one, it's taken him 30 days to do a simple job that he's told me he's going to do several different occasions, right? Again, keep your word. I think you've heard Bob Snyder say that. Do what you say you're going to do. And then two, I literally flat out, I'm trying to nail this down. And instead of the guy listening to two different messages of when I told him exactly when I can talk, he just ignores it and calls me right during the conference call. So anyway, just food for thought. When you guys are doing prospecting, I think it gives you credibility when you have that level of professionalism. Cool. So I was talking to, I'm going to share this with you guys. And I think it pertains to all of us. You hear this quite often, that, a lot of people don't believe that I don't know what the term is. They don't think that they need the education, right? And when we're prospecting, you'll come across folks that quite often, I think that, and again, it's really not true. It is simply an excuse. It's a reason or a barrier to put up that enables them to not really consider committing to a $20,000 purchase, right? So a lot of people will, they'll let you know where they've been and what they've done, right? They'll let you know how many deals they've done or what education they've paid for, or how long they've been a realtor or things like that. And it's just natural. It is what it is. It's the truth. It's not a lie necessarily. I mean, they might exaggerate a little bit, but the point is that they truly believe that they don't need it, but they know that they need it, right? And you got to remember, if some way, somehow, other than you forcing it on somebody, they have come across your path and they've gone to a meetup, they have gone to even an advertisement, or they've watched a video, or, at some point in time you had a conversation with them where they haven't engaged with you and said, that interests me, or I'm interested, or something like that. They're looking for something, right? Their world is not perfect, right? So for example, and it's a bad example, but it's probably a great example, is we're not prospecting Bill Gates. All right. We're not prospecting Donald Trump. And what I mean by that, and for the most part, we're not prospecting, that I know of, active professional athletes, active professional actors that are mainstream superstars. Not that we can't be, but for the most part, these folks are in a position where they, it's not that they couldn't do better investments necessarily, right? But they are in a position where they have enough money for their grandkids. So, and they're busy doing what they're doing, and then they have probably paying advisors to put their money to work to make a minimum of 8 to 10%, and they can live off their interest, and so can their grandkids, right? So my point is this: the other folks out there that are not, I don't know, Grant Cardone, people worth a couple of $100 million, people worth even 20 million. I don't know. I'd have to break down some examples. I don't care if they own 188 units. If they're looking for something, they need something, and Renatus can help them, right? So we have to remember that. We have to remember that every prospect, in my opinion, although it's difficult, is, that's funny, thanks. Yeah, you guys could turn off your videos if you want. Okay, so every prospect is in need of something. And so Renatus can help, as you know, one of the 4 core beliefs, can help anybody. So let me give you this example. So this guy we follow up with yesterday, he's got, man, I don't know, he bought a 58 unit and an 82 unit and another apartment. So he bought 3 apartments. He's done, I don't know, 75 wholesales in the last 4 years. He's done, I don't remember exact numbers. It was texted to me. I can go read the text, but he's done some deals, right? In fact, if it's all true, he's done more deals than I have, and he owns more doors than I do. So be it. But he shows up at a meeting on Thursday night. So the difference between he and I, right, is that I'm not going to another meeting looking for other things. When Michael Huggins, for example, just because he talked about it yesterday, goes to a meetup group, Michael is there for a couple of reasons. One is he's at a dog meetup and he's integrating his dog into the world of other dogs, but he's got a second agenda, a personal agenda, which is to collect some names, right? So therefore, Michael is in need of something at the event, right? If you're not going to, if you're not at those events, you're not in need, right? So for me, like you probably, you get prospected for other things all the time. I'm not going to those other things. I'm politely and respectfully declining to go look at other opportunities of any kind, even if it's CBD oil and God is going to turn the whole world into $1 billion, weed thing. I'm not looking for $1 billion business in weed. So the fact that he's in my meeting and watching my training, no matter how many deals he's done, he's interested in something. So we have to remember that all prospects are equal. So it's difficult, and that's what I was getting at earlier, is that it's difficult because there's 8s, 9s, and 10s as we all look for and that we're trained to think about. Are these 8s, 9s, and 10s, these people that are ready, able, and willing. They're a raw student or a raw client, a raw prospect where they're ready, able, and willing to be able to engage in the Renatus opportunity. So, but the issue is that whether they're a 4, 5, or 6, and what meaning, like they have the potential to be, they have a huge desire to get out of their job, but they don't have much income, whatever the case is. No matter what their number is on the scale of being a 10 for a prospect, they all are looking for something, right? And so you have something that they need and that they want. And so you have the upper hand. And although you may never have done a deal before, you're not going to that person and saying, can you train me on how to buy 82 unit apartment complex, right? You've already got that information from Johnny D, which if you were on the webinar last night, you would appreciate the power of that guy's brain, and his experience is off the chain. So with that, when you come across this prospect that is higher up than you, and especially in real estate, let's just stick to that, right? And he or she has done a lot of real estate. And so when we talk to this individual, naturally I'm going to ask what they've been doing, right? And so they're going to be willing and able to tell me their story. They're going to be wanting to tell me their story and, basically edify themselves and, establish credibility and so on and so forth, right? So that's great. So you're going to listen. So, I made this call from the gym. I had just gotten done with spin class, and it was chest day yesterday. So I had to go from spin class to chest day, and then I had to get over to a property. But I had made a commitment to make this call at 10:30. And so it doesn't matter how long the call is. I'm going to talk to this person as long as it takes to hear them out. And so, I'm talking to the individual, and he's going through his accolades with real estate and stuff like that. And so I'm asking him, and of course he's naturally going to tell me he's looking for money, right? That's his main goal. And I kind of knew that going in, that he's looking for money, right? So I asked him about all these money people that, that helped him buy all these other units, so he kind of explained without me really understanding it, how he bought these units and stuff like that. I didn't really ask if he was the sole owner, if he partnered with him or whatever. It wasn't, I don't really care. But I was interested to know where his money is. So he's got these ideas of doing a couple teardowns and some spec homes, and he's moving into some development or whatever. And he's looking for cash. I'm only looking for $250,000. So in this case, again, right off the bat too, one of his texts was, I'm not interested in buying education. I'm not interested in, purchasing a program. And he went on yesterday on the phone call to let me know that he'd spent over $100,000 with REWW and a couple, or not REWW, REW, I don't know who that is. And then a couple other things that he'd spent money on, training and worked under this guy or that guy and so on and so forth. And, and he's done, I'm like, great, he's done well, whatever. Definitely, acknowledge them and give them the praise that they need. And then, but I continually ask questions, right? It was, the entire conversation with this gentleman, even after I told him he owns more doors than I do, right? And he knew that from Thursday night's meeting probably anyway. But I'm controlling the entire conversation through questions, asking him, because he's on the phone to get something from me, right? He's on the phone to get into my good graces because I may or may not have somebody that I could refer him to or myself to lend him $250,000, right? But what I did is I started to tell many stories. I started to tell stories of newer students like Cole that had raised money and how much money he roughly estimated that he had raised in his first 18 months with the community. Myself over 10 years, over $6 million. Dane Clark, the amount of money that Dane Clark has raised, right? So I'm telling these stories about people, and then I'm asking him immediately, does that sound like something you're looking for? Yeah. Okay. Then I ask him again, if you found yourself in an environment where people are getting training on spending money and they in investing in real estate, and they're learning about retirement accounts and things like that, and how to use their retirement in real estate, do you think if you were in those graces and you were developing relationships with those folks, it would be worth 20 grand to you? It would be worth an investment? Well, yeah. So I'm not saying go buy the education, and we all know that I don't care if you own an apartment complex or not. Retiring in Real Estate classes by Garrett Gunderson, some of the the wealth creation classes by Garrett Gunderson, some of the retirement in real estate, the velocity banking, the tax and legal. There's so much more to this that we know. I could just sit there and go, listen, dude, you might be buying apartments, but are you doing it this way? Or you have a Johnny Dessauer teaching you managing prop. I could go into all that factual training and the factual selling, right? But it doesn't sell. What sells is asking questions and getting people to go ahead and experience what's possible and where the value is, not based on what I think they need, which I know that he could use some more education just in my communication with him and my conversations and what he's saying. However, that's not what he was looking for. He's looking for money. And so, when we talked about money, I said, imagine if you met somebody tomorrow and you're referred to them in business, and you go to Starbucks and you meet them, and I didn't go through that whole much detail, but I was asking him, do you believe that people are just going to lend you money based on you needing money for real estate, even if you can secure it? And the answer is no, right? Money is a relationship business. Real estate is a relationship business. So, and I wasn't telling this to him. I was asking him to bring this information out. Do you believe that would happen? He's like, no. I'm like, would you believe that if you were in an environment where, if you take me, for example, excuse me, and people are brand new, or even if they're sophisticated, are they just going to lend to you based on asset-based lending? And typically I said, wouldn't you believe that they'd probably find a financial investor or to invest with, or a financial planner, or they might get a REIT, or they might turn to a realtor, right? If they're not going to know somebody to trust them. But when they're going to put a couple $100,000 into a deal and be a lender, right? It's relationship-based money. Unless you're raising money publicly or through a PPM, or through some sort of advertising where you're just offering, you're enticing people through a return, then you better have some sort of securities, and you better have some sort of licensing and professionalism to be able to do that, or you will be breaking securities laws, right? Otherwise, it's a face-to-face, belly-to-belly, raising money type of business. And I said, if we provided you the environment for you to meet those types of folks, and you can get around some of those folks on a regular basis and get to know them, don't you think that would enhance the opportunity for you to lend money? And so at the end of the day, my point is, You know, I don't know where it's going to go. He's going out of town for 2 weekends because naturally, what did I do? I built for another event. I invited him to Saturday's property tour of my property, and I said exactly that you can learn how I did this deal with no money and no credit of my own, and how where the money comes from and how it pertains to the whole community and so on and so forth, how you could plug it into this too. So naturally, I'm putting it in his court, you know, letting him know that this is how he's going to be able to do it. And he declined because he's going to be in California. But fortunately, you know, he was open to another event in 2 weeks when he gets back in town. So here's the thing. That person may or may not join Renatus, right? That person has set on a goal where they are interested in raising 250 grand because he knows what he knows how to do it, so he thinks, and he's going to go scrape a property, and he's going to build a spec home, and he needs $250,000 to do it, and he's going to be on a mission to find it. So remember, folks, if that's your one lead and you work with that lead for 2 months, you might end up coming short, and the person doesn't enroll, and you've wasted all this time on them, and they go into a drip funnel, and you lose contact with them, and you're discouraged. So having a prospect like that is great, but you need other prospects, right? We need to have a pipeline. So with this person, he goes into an immediate follow-up in 2 weeks, right? In fact, it's 10 days, so I prepare him for the weekend that he's back in town, and I'm going to give him the address and the time. Or I'll give him the time and have him commit, then I'll give him the address, right? In 2 weeks. If he has another excuse, no big deal. He's going to go into a funnel. I'm going to invite him to intensives. I'm going to invite him to property tours. And then every once in a while, he may be invited, in my opinion, depending on this IMA that's working with this guy, that he may be invited again to come see the same, you know, come see me do a presentation again, as, you know, come see it all over again for the first time kind of thing. I use that all the time. So here's my point. The way this person eventually will or will not enroll in Renatus is he needs exposures. His belief in what I'm telling him and what I've asked him to come up with on his own and make up his own mind about the possibility of finding money in Renatus needs to be developed over time through building for events and him getting around the community and building his belief system that this is where he could find money, right? Build relationships. But he's not going to do it by me telling him to him. So, but I can't force the guy to go to another event. So when we talk to somebody like that and we follow up with them, again, it's questions. How's it going finding the money? Hey, did you start that project? Right? Hey, how's it going with this or that? Have you done anything since then? Right? You're not asking point blank like that, but you get my point. When they're like, they're going to disclose, they're going to be a little embarrassed maybe because they haven't gotten it done, but they're going to tell you their progress, right? They're going to, you know, I got this guy, he's pretty interested. You know, I met a couple people in California. I went out there to talk to some investors and, you know, they got this money and that money and blah, blah. I'm going to tell you whatever. And maybe he finds the money, he's not interested anymore. It just is what it is. It's all about timing. But it doesn't mean you don't even follow up with him. But my point is that, you know, I'm going to ask questions and then I'm going to say, hey, wouldn't it be in your best interest to come on over here and maybe you can meet, you know, in fact, Gary's going to be there. And I know he's got some great stories about it, raising some financing and even the last couple deals on these developments he's doing down in Mesa, you know, at 75 with none of his own money right now or whatever, you know, whatever the true story is. So you guys get my point on this is that when I'm re-inviting, I'm reminding them to remind themselves as to why they want to come and why it would be valuable. I'm not just calling them up and going, hey, you know, you said you'd be back in town and it's going to be, you know, next Saturday, I got you scheduled, you know, are you ready to go? You know what? In 2 weeks, anything could have happened and who knows where that guy's mindset is, right? We can't just do that. You know why we do that? We're lazy and it's easy. It's easy for us to just call someone up and say, hey, you told me to follow up with you in 2 weeks, you know. No, you've got to build a rapport, you guys. You got to go right back into it. You got to spend the time with these folks, and you got to listen to what it is that they're saying. You have to remember what your notes said or in your mental notes and figure out where you need to go. And you've got to develop the relationship again. And you've got to remind them why there's value in Renatus. And you've got to bring the value and then you've got to provide the solution by them coming to the event so they can start to see the value themselves. It's imperative. It's imperative. And I don't care if it's 2 days from when you first talk to them or 2 weeks or 2 months. You know, unless it's your brother or sister, maybe it's really close, warm market, and you're just like, hey man, you told me you're going to that event. We're going this Thursday. Okay, so be it. But we are developing a relationship. Now, here's the thing. If we're developing this relationship with this guy and this is our business and it's this one client and you remember Tommy Boy and you're just coddling this pet and that's it, you will kill it. You will smother the pet. It will go away. Or even if you do everything right and everything works out and they come to the event and all that stuff, timing isn't everything and they don't enroll. And your business suffers financially and you suffer emotionally and you lose your belief a little bit in Renatus. It goes down a little bit and you lose belief in yourself and you struggle. But when, it's so funny, Adriano, you have your video on, my friend, and you're on the phone. That's pretty cool. Anyway, listening to a video, very difficult. The point to that is that it goes back to number one. And number one is, as you guys know, is seeing the people. And I talked about this last night on our local training, that if we're not seeing the people on a regular basis every day, that's okay. That means that you are busy. It means that you don't know how. It means that you are afraid to, or it means that you don't need the money. You're not that interested in changing your life or someone else's life financially, or it means that you are not ready for this business. You haven't committed to the business. It's in your head and not your heart. It could mean all of the above. It could mean a few of the above. It could mean none of the above, right? Yes, Sherry. Is that to me privately? Or do you want me to announce the question? Feel free to type it in there and then tell me if you want me to do it to you privately later on, or if you want for me to announce it and discuss it. I love questions. So whatever the reason is, it's imperative, in my opinion, for this Renatus business that you spend time speaking to someone a day or every 2 days. And you've heard this, right? So you've got to have your advertising, your fishing poles out there. I'm not telling you that you should just, you can take whatever inactive action or massive action or whatever action you want to take. It's up to you and your 5-star and what you can commit to and what time frame you have. However, when you want results that include a $10,000 a month every month or $20,000 a month every month, it's not going to be with one individual that you got on Meetup over 3 or 4 months, or even once a month. Michael yesterday, and if you're missing these trainings, you're crazy, but Michael yesterday spoke of many different meetups that he attends, right? And so some weeks he can go to more than others. Some weeks he can't go to as many as others, but he has a vision and a goal to go to it in order to reach his $1 million goal for the year. So, wherever you're getting your leads, if you're coming up short on leads or on prospects, right, and you have no warm market or whatever the case is, then you have to create it. You guys understand the point. But it doesn't have to be a ton. It just has to be, if you're committed to doing it, like literally if you've committed to whatever it is that you want, you can overcome the objections. You can overcome your fear of talking to people and getting them. In my recommendation, like you've heard a lot of people, you've really got to be, you've got to practice or at least know and understand your, what your icebreaker is going to be, what your elevator speech is going to be, what your approach is going to be. You have to remember that wherever you're talking to someone, that the timing has to be right. And you're not looking to, sell Renatus and invite someone that minute. You're looking to collect data. You're looking to collect names and numbers so that you can reach out to them when the time is right, when you're in the right state of mind. I talk about this all the time. Sherry, again, if you have a question, feel free. Right now, it just says privately to me, but I don't have the question yet. But if you have a question, just let me know if it's privately, and then if you want me to answer it to.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, I can. Yeah, welcome. Yep.
Okay, so here's the question. Last week I had some prospects come to a meeting, and then the next day they texted me that they wanted to get started. That night and the next night, I attempted to set up a follow-up appointment with them, and then I didn't hear from them the rest of the weekend. So while we were on the call right now, I texted them and I said, hey, are you still, okay, I'm just giving you the low lights. I'm not giving you the whole text that I sent them. But I was just like, hey, are you still interested in getting started? If so, call me and text me so we can set up, a plan to, move forward. And if you're not interested at this time, let me know also. So I did get a text back from them, and they said that right now, well, actually, I just got a text back from the lady, and she said that they're still interested, but they're moving, and right now is not the right time. That they appreciate my attention. So, and that they'll contact me as soon as they're ready. So am I just like, okay, sure, or what should my response be?
This is great. So I appreciate it, Sherry. So number one is, and again, remember, folks, what I say is not the gospel. I don't even know if that's the right saying. I'm ignorant when it comes to stuff. What I say doesn't always work, and what I say isn't always right.
Right.
What some of the PAC members say may be always right. So I'm aspiring to be there. So, but my opinion is, and my experience has been this, is that, and you didn't do anything wrong, but I'm going to make a short answer long. My number one is, whenever I text somebody back, I always read it back, and I have to erase it and reread it, right? So when you say, and you did fine because they responded, so it worked out. But when you say, hey, are you still ready to get started? If so, let me know. We can get this going. Or if you're not, let me know too. So that's pretty typical, and that's a straight up, straightforward response in a text that makes sense. But there's very little emotion to that text, right? And you're giving someone an option to back out. And so you didn't do anything wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that text. And in fact, it's a business-like text, and that's fine. But we're an emotional business, and a lot is going on, and they were pretty excited the other night, and they cooled off over the weekend, which is totally typical. It's totally natural. It's understandable. But we got to go right back to why they came in the first place, what they were excited about, and we need an intrigue question sometimes. Hey, you probably tried to reach me, I missed it, or whatever it is, that you're saying. And then I remember, or you told me that you were ready to get started because you love the, whatever it was, whatever their goal was, or what they love the most, or why they told you anything about what they want to do. We want to hit that again and remind them. And then I'm usually more of a matter of fact. I'm like, hey, I'm going to call you at 5. Let's get you started. I've got your order already placed. I just need some information from you to finalize it, right? Or something. So I'm assuming the sale. I'm foreshadowing what we're going to be doing. I'm future pacing them already. When you get started, you're going to love this. It's going to be great, right? So I'm not assuming that anything's wrong. I'm not assuming that they're not interested anymore. I'm not giving them that opportunity. My assumption is, since I have no other information to go on other than my own emotions, my assumption is they didn't get a hold of me this weekend. They're exactly in the same place they were on Thursday night, which is ready to go. So, so cool. The number 2 is what to do here with them in this case. It's totally fine. So obviously you have the choice. You have the choice of just saying, okay, cool. Let me know when you're ready. I'm here for you. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you, and that's cool. And now you're going to do kind of a hybrid, in my opinion. And number 1 is you're going to accept that. Hey, I totally understand it. You may even ask questions about, and you're going to design this. So you're going to think about this before you respond. But you may even say, hey, what's your time frame? and you're moving, do you need any help? I've got resources that possibly I can, whatever, if you wanted to offer that. If not, you'd be like, hey, what's your time frame? Or another approach would be, listen, that's perfect. Life is always there and always comes first. Not a big deal. We can get you started without interference. So you're all, when the dust settles, you can get started. You can move. Your business is there for you, and you can move to a follow-up, right? You can move to another event. No worries. I'm going to get you registered for next week's property tour or next week's business forum. You should come check that out again for the first time, whatever it is. And you can almost assume that they're going to attend this event and build for that next event. So you have some sort of arrangement so that they have something to look forward to, and you have booked them to the next event instead of leaving it out there. Well, okay, because they haven't said no, right? They're just saying not right now. And so the natural thing is to put them in a drip and wait for them to come around. But they seem to be kind of, I'm going to read your post here in a second so I get a little more information. It says, let's see.
But you know what, while you're reading that, the thing that I do really get is, like you said, they were ready to get started and I gave them a way out. So I could have said, or in the future I could say, when that happens, I could say something like you said, that, hey, I have everything set up for you to get started. Let's set up a time to meet, to devise or to create a strategy for your business future. I don't know.
Right, and you don't know because you got to think about it and you're on the spot right now, and I just read your thing. Yeah. That's perfect. So I'm going to get this with everybody. I'm going to share this with you. I won't read the whole thing, but I'm going to share the point to it. And so that's good. And what you can do there is, using Dane Clark's method, you can just say, listen, no worries, get your stuff taken care of. Let me know if you need anything to help you with your move. In the meantime, I've got your order ready to go. Step one is simply just getting your order placed. So I've already done that. I just need to walk through the signing of it. Take like 5 minutes. And I'll let you know about the email. Once you're done moving, we can go ahead and get your funding going and all that, and you'll be ahead of the game. And then as soon as you fund, you can unlock your education. So you can share that with them. Number two is if you had the opportunity and you skipped all of that stuff, and there's some way to just say, that's awesome. I want you. I'm ready for you. Don't worry about it. I know life is, timing's everything. You got this thing going on, but let me tell you, if you give me just a couple minutes of your time, let me know when a good time is to chat. I just want to remind you. And so there's something I want to tell you. And what I would tell people is that, and I say this all the time, is like, it's not a big deal. Oh man, I lost my thought. When it comes to getting started with Renatus, it's not something that needs all your ducks need to be in a row. It's getting started is simply the beginning, and just having it there is, what was I going to say? Darn it. I can't even think of what I was just going to say, but the point is that, so they understand. A lot of people feel like there's so much, if they start this, they have to be ready to get started that next day and dive into it. And we just can share with them that, hey, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. We can get the order placed and your education will open up when we get the funding through, and it'll be there when you're ready, kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be, so they understand that it's not one or the other. Like, it's kind of like if you're buying a vehicle, you got to go, you got to spend the whole day buying the vehicle, you got to test drive it, you got to get through the financing and all that stuff, and you got to stop everything you're doing. You can't do it on a weekend you're moving. Renatus is not like that. Renatus can happen simultaneously to anything in your life, and it's there when you come back to it. It's not something that you need, and so that's one of the things we can share with them. So what I do like you folks is on her response to them and saying, hey, I haven't heard from you. She didn't say that, but she was texting them after the weekend and said, she told a story. She told her story, Sherry did, to this guest about how she got started with Renatus and what she did going to several events and stuff like that. So I love that you told a story. And then if you would have said, instead of, if you're still interested in changing your life, if not, let me know, right? So you give people a choice there, which is not necessarily a good thing. I know you're interested in this. I know you want to change your life. So let's just, step one, no big deal. We place your order. Just let me know when a good time to call. It takes a couple minutes. I'll have your order placed, and then you can go about your life. And then when you're ready, the dust settles, we get back and we fund it and we get step two going and we're good to go, kind of thing. So you assume the sale, you assume that they're still interested. You don't allow them to have those negative thoughts or to regress a little bit and sit, they went home, they're like, oh, we got to move. We're spending 20 grand. I don't want to spend 20 grand if I'm not going to start right away. And they're thinking of all these things. They don't even know anything about it. And you could just reassure them, no big deal. We'll get it done. This is why you told me you wanted to, hit up the velocity banking, or you wanted to, you didn't want to waste any more time trying to learn on your own. Whatever they told you they wanted, you remind them of that. That's what you're here to do. Don't worry about life getting in the way. That's totally cool. It happens to all of us, and you're good to go. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
Perfect. And I appreciate you getting a response. So that's cool. This is a great question. And so in the meantime, I would just, just drip on, you could even in 2 days maybe, or a day, maybe ask your 5-star what they think. But, hey, hope the move's going well. Let me know if there's any resources you need. I got you booked for this Saturday's tour. I'm not sure what your time frame is on getting ready. Or you may skip that part and go, and then you can come up with it, test it a couple times on yourself or your 5-star, and then just be like, and then introduce that step number one and let them know, hey, I'm placing your order. I know how excited you were. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of this for you while you're doing your work, but I'll need 2 minutes of your time over the phone just to explain the process so you can get all signed, kind of thing. And so you can let them know you're working on their behalf while they're off doing their life. So check with your 5-star on that if you want. So that's really good. Yeah, I think you guys, Christian Sadler does this all the time when he gets back on the training calls. He loves taking, Dan Clark too, taking questions. Well, all of us do, I guess. So taking questions or talking through specific scenarios, because I promise you, there's not one scenario that you guys have with a prospect that's unique to you and no one else. So, and if most people on this call haven't experienced it yet, they will, in their prospecting and with their leads and with their team and with their war market. And when we can share how some of us have already handled it, or what we think works, or what we know works, if you're listening to Michael and some of the other people and myself, then it's a great way for everybody to at least have a reference for this type of objection. Again, right? Because, if you guys think about it, I love this. If you think about it and you are all set to buy a car, and I always say car because, there's a process there, financing and funding. You got to meet the monthly payment. You got to figure it all out. You got to choose the car and the choices you have. And it's a time consuming thing. And it's not like you just woke up one day, never saw a commercial, and went out to any dealership on the planet and bought a car. You have been marketed to for the last 6 months whenever you opened your mind to the possibility of a car. So just like that, with a person opening their mind to a change in their life, they have been open to the fact that real estate education, or getting into real estate, or having an at-home business, or making extra money, or paying off debt, whatever it is opened their mind. And they've opened their mind to be receptive to this in the world, right? So they're being marketed to for a while. Then they see a Renatus thing and they go to a Renatus thing, right? So they see these commercials on TV, they hear it on the radio, their friends are talking about cars, they're driving to work, seeing the car that they want, or one of them, and they're like, oh, maybe that's a good car. What's that? I've never seen that before. Oh, I like that minivan, or whatever they're doing. And they're thinking about it. So it's the buying of the car at the end of the day is the culmination of all this marketing and everything they've been open to for the last however many months when they're thinking about a car, right? Then they got to justify the purchase. They got to justify the financing, getting their credit checked again. How much is the payment? Are they going to be able to qualify? All of these things are going through their mind. And finally they wake up one day and they make plans and they go to the event, right? And gosh darn it, if I forgot what I was going to say. So, the point is, I say this about a car because if we think about it, I know what I was going to say. These folks opened themselves up and saw Renatus, and it was the car they wanted to drive. They're ready to buy this car, and they're excited about it. You're like, okay, tomorrow, Friday, let's get together. Saturday, I want to get my order placed. I want to get started. I want to do it, right? Then they go home and they didn't forget when they told you and they tell us something, they didn't forget that they're moving, right? They didn't forget that they're doing something else. And so when you're buying a car, you don't go to the car salesman, you go, you know what? I think I'm going to think about it because tomorrow I'm going on a vacation for a week on a cruise. So I'm going to buy the car when I get back because I can't use the car over the next week. Not true. We buy the damn car. We buy it. We're there. We're spending the time. We're buying the car, whether we're going on a trip tomorrow or not, right? Whether we got to sell our used car first or not. So it is simply an objection. It's simply a for lack of a better term, an excuse. It's real life, but they had a few minutes to think about it and they need another exposure. They need to get on the phone or assume the sale, like I said, and they need someone to tell them, don't worry about it. Everything's cool. The car's going to be here when you get back and it's not going anywhere. You're not putting any miles on. It's not depreciating like it's any more now than it will in 10 days. So you're totally fine. Get your things so you don't have to get back and then make all these decisions again and go through the whole process again, right? This is a car salesman, right? So, let's buy the car today, right? So same thing. They're not opposed to hearing someone tell them what they need to do and how they need to get started and what the first step is. This past Saturday, we had an intensive here. And if you're not building for intensives or regionals, you're crazy. You're not serious about your business, in my opinion, or you just, I shouldn't say that. That's actually not true. What it is that you either don't know how exactly, or you just there's just some fear there and some newness to it, and you haven't you want to, you can, and it's important to have people at the regionals and things, but you just don't have the full grasp. But you're spending time on these trainings, but get with your 5-star. My point to this is that this weekend, someone that's been coming around, one of my team members, one of their guests, has been coming around for a while. It's been a little while since he's been there. They got him to the intensive, and for some reason the light bulb went off. And the intensive with John McCants just pushed him over the edge. And he said, when it was the end of the day, and I was talking to him outside privately, he was getting ready to leave, and everybody was closing up and still talking and stuff. And he's like, I'm ready to go. He's like, I gotta do this. What I'm seeing is crazy. And so, he flat out asked me, what's the next step? And the next step wasn't, let's get on the phone and we'll get you to, this Saturday, we've got another meeting next week. And then I'm like, great. I'm going to get with Kia. I'm going to get with these folks. I'm going to get them started, Kia and Zach, and they're going to call you, but here's what you're going to do. And right out of my mouth, hey, have you thought about how you're going to fund the education? Yeah, I've got a couple ideas, possibly the credit nerds. Okay, cool. I'm going to have them send you to get funded, but in the meantime, you've got these other ideas. Step number 1, we get your order placed tonight. I'm going to have them call you by tonight and tomorrow. You'll have your order placed. We'll worry about that later. That's going to open up your account. Everything's going to be great. And then we'll fund the education. And as soon as we do, step 3 happens where you unlock the education, you get going. Right. And so he's like, cool. So now he's got a plan. He knows what's next. He knows what it is. And I told him what we're doing. There's no other anything. I didn't tell him, oh my God, wasn't John McCants awesome? And there's so much education you're going to learn, and none of that. I didn't talk any more facts. I didn't sell anything else. I just said, this is where we're going. This is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to do. You're going to come up with your solution. We're going to come up with our solution for your funding, and we're going to have you funded next week, and you're good to go. Then you're, oh my God, that's awesome. I can't wait to get started. Right. And so there it is. So, when you text these folks back, assuming, unless they've told you otherwise, you are assuming they're in the same state of mind. It's usually internally that we create some sort of feeling of how they might be thinking and how they might be feeling based on what their lack of response is to us. But instead, we should always, you hear Michael say this, and we're just assuming they're on board. Until they tell me otherwise, they need this and they want it, and they need to be told what to do, just as we did back then. And anything that they're telling us otherwise is simply a fear tactic, an excuse, and a reason, a legitimate excuse, a legitimate reason, a legitimate thing that enables them to have a reason why they can back off a little bit and not spend 20 grand. It's this human nature. But deep down, they've already told you, they already know they want it, and we just have to get them to that point. All right, I got 8 o'clock, folks. Awesome. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing that with me. Does anybody else have anything? If you do, I don't see any in the chat. I'm going to type in one more time, 760-533-3141. 760-533-3141. That is my cell phone number. You guys are, oh, I did that privately to her. That's funny. Okay, so everyone publicly. I'm very proud to announce our meeting in New York. Good job, Bill. Proud of you too. You're welcome, Ashley. Awesome. Let's see. Allow attendees to chat with everyone publicly and privately. Okay, so now, sorry guys, there we go. Okay, cool. I got it to work. 760. You're welcome, Joanne. Thank you. You're awesome. Lily, thank you. You're great. I'll see you Thursday on the meeting. Welcome to the pit, girl. Jenna, any tidbits on reopening conversations with leads who have went silent? Yes, Jenna. Absolutely. In fact, that should be a weekly thing that you do when you don't have a new lead. And I do it constantly. I carry around in my folder with me every day, even when I go to properties. I put it on the front seat of my car sometimes, and I go through it, or I go through my phone. I go all the way back on old texts. And this is where I totally do this, you guys, is I will text it, I will type it out, and I will read it back, and I will erase it, and I will start over, because it has to be intriguing. And it's simply an intrigue. And it can be as rude as you want it to be, not on purpose rude, but like it could be, hey, did you just give up on your dreams? Hey, did you not like real estate anymore? Did you find something that's making you the money that you wanted to make? Did you find some way to invest in real estate without having to spend money? It could be anything point blank like that. Or if you remember them well enough, Jenna, you can go back to them and you can just ask, you can hit their pain point. Hey, I wanted you to know I care about you, or I'm thinking about you, and you told me you wanted real estate, and I know how to get you into it. Call me back. Let's, come see this for the first time again, or provide a solution, right? So it's bring up the pain and then provide a solution again. Or it could be, you told me you wanted to get in real estate. I've got the perfect thing for you. Come to Saturday's property tour. Or I want to introduce you to so-and-so. There's a solution you're providing. But always, any quick tidbits on reopening conversations, it has to be intrigue, and it has to be their idea. And so their idea, if you guys remember, even if you say, hey, did you give up on real estate? Their idea was real estate. They called you for real estate. Did you give up on this? Or did you not want to do this anymore? Did you find a better solution? Maybe you could tell me what it is. Something like that. Or it's intrigue. It's about what they told you. Hey, you know what? I remember the conversation we had 2 weeks ago, and you were like so excited about, paying off debt and helping your family. Do you still want to do that? Or, I got a way that you could see a little bit more information on how to do that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, right? And that's the text. And you could write it, reread it a couple of times, and write it again. And so before you send it, it's like one of those emails you don't send on emotion. You just double check your spelling and everything before you leave. All right. I hope that helps to everybody. I think it's a great, great way to re-engage people. And I'll tell you, 1 out of 50 or so, 1 out of 30 will absolutely respond positively and enroll. I mean, it's not no, it's just not now most of the time. So yeah, attack it, get it. Those are your leads that you can be talking to every day. And the more leads you have, the more combos you're going to close every month. All right. All right, you guys, 8:05, got to go. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the meeting for all. Make it a great Tuesday. Make it happen. See you tomorrow on Dane's call and Thursday. And anything you need, you got my number. And, if I don't get back to you right away, just text me again. And I look forward to seeing you guys all soon. Gear up for regionals. Let your 5-star know which regionals you're going to. Let your teammates know which regionals you're going to, and your colleagues, so they can all talk about it too. Don't miss. Go to more than one. Bye, you guys.